Hello everyone, I hope that I'm live right now. If you guys are able to hear me properly as well as listen to me correctly, please do let me know, guys. Hello everyone, I hope that I'm live right now. Please let me know if I am audible or not. Okay, so I am audible. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Okay, loud and clear. Okay, great, great, great. Okay, so we'll be waiting for the first 5 minutes just so that everyone is able to join us up till that particular point of time. If someone has any questions for me, please do let me know in the live chat. I will try to answer some of those questions in the meantime. Okay. If someone has any questions that they want to ask, please put it down in the live chat. I will try to answer some of those questions. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. We'll be waiting for the next 5 minutes so that everyone is able to join, guys. Up till that point of time, if you guys have some questions or something like that, please put it down in the live chat. Okay. There are no assignments, Vaishnavi. We only have a project at the end. There are some assignment that are given in the notes itself in GitHub. You can go and check them out. Those are not compulsory to do. Although I suggest that you should do it so that you get some like hands-on practice on the same as well. Okay. The Python notes you can get it from GitHub. The link is down in the description of the video itself. Okay. Yes, we have some other boot camps on React.js and Node.js as well. No, you don't have to pay anything for this certificate. These boot camps are 100% free. Okay, do not worry about the same. Okay. Don't worry, the project will be done in the class itself, so you will not find that hard because you don't have to do it on your own. We'll be doing the project live in the class, so do not worry about the same. First, we will learn all the concepts that are required for the project, and then we will complete the project at the end. Okay, so don't worry, guys. Guys, if you have some questions, do let us know in the live chat. I will try to answer some of them so that up till that point, everyone has joined us. Okay. The project will be done at the end of the class, Nandana. Okay. Not for every class. At the end of the entire bootcamp, we'll be having the project. Okay. If we finish the project and full attendance, we will get two certificates. Yes, full coolly. That's absolutely correct. There's no project that we are going to do today. Today we are going to complete Python. Okay. Is there any boot camps on Java? We may plan it in the future, but not right now. Currently, we have boot camps on data structures and algorithms, competitive programming. We have boot camps on open source coding. We have boot camps on web development, that is the MERN stack. We have boot camps on data science, data analysis, data engineering, website development, and so on and so forth. And yeah, on ethical hacking as well, we have some boot camps. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. any AWS bootcamp. We will plan it in the future. We take on polls from the students. We release some polls on our channel. You can participate on those polls. We take up ideas from you guys on what you want to see in the next bootcamp, and we conduct the bootcamps on the basis of the maximum voted topic. So that is how we do the bootcamps itself. Currently, we do not have any boot camps on R as of this particular moment, because compared to Python, R is a statistical language and is not necessary for getting jobs right now. So, like if you are learning Python, that's more than sufficient. You don't need to learn R. That's just a waste of time. How to practice coding? Mayank Mittal, you will have to dedicate time for that. Every single day, have 1 to 2 hours dedicated to just practicing coding. You can take up some of the good websites, like if you want to go for easy websites, it will be Hacker Earth, HackerRank. If you want to go for medium level websites, you can go for with CodeChef or similar websites, Lead Code as well. If you are already a pro, then you can go forward with Code Forces. That will be my suggestion to you. So when will automation with Python and computer vision and CNN bootcamp continue? So the instructor who was taking the computer vision and CNN bootcamp is suffering from dengue right now. He's Parag Mittal. He has previously worked in Microsoft and is currently an upcoming intern at Atlassian. So he's suffering from dengue. So it will take a month, and after that, whenever he is well, we will conduct the bootcamp once again. So you do not have to worry about the same. Okay. How to improve coding skills? You can only do one thing. You have to practice and nothing else. Okay, you have to do practice, and there's nothing else that you can do. Okay. Okay, so that would be it, I guess. So I don't think so more people are going to join us. They are already late. We will get started with today's class. Roadmap for data scientists, data analysts, data engineers, machine learning engineers. We'll be discussing that soon. Okay, we will be having one class in which I will be discussing that. Do not worry about the same. So let's start with today's class. We'll be starting off from where we had previously left in Python. Okay, so don't worry about the same. So the same process you have to follow. The link of the notebook is down in the description. You have to connect yourself to Google Collaboratory. I'm just reconnecting me to the allocated resources. And today what we are going to do is we are going to start with data types. Okay, so that is what we want to do today. Okay. So there are various kind of data that you have seen when we were writing our code previously. Okay, so you had these numbers, as you are able to see. Rent is equals to 1700. That's a number, as you are able to see. You had strings. Okay, so this is something that is a little bit different. All the words, all the operands are basically put up inside quotation marks. Okay, so there are various different small things that you must have seen when you were coding. For example, when we did a particular code, rent is equals to rent divided by 700, you were able to see that you were getting an answer that is not a integer. Okay, that is a decimal number. So you were able to see various different type of data that you were able to see while you were like getting started with Python. These different type of data are classified into different names, okay, basis on their characteristics, and these names are basically called as data types. Okay, that is which type of data is this particular data belonging to. Okay, so that is what we are going to discuss today. So we'll start with the basics, integers and floats. Okay, so integers is basically the numbers that you are able to see. So 1700, 2000. When I'm doing rent plus is equals to 700, we are getting 2700. So these are all integers, as you are able to see. There are no decimal point after the number itself. Basic mathematics, I don't think so I need to explain it a lot. Okay, so these are basic integers. Now when you're moving towards float, okay, so float or floating point number is a number that has a decimal representation. Okay, that is, for example, this entire number has a decimal right over here. So these are called as your floats. So the two type of data that we are dealing with as of this particular moment is the integers and the floats. Okay. Okay, great. So for example, 3 divided by 2, although 3 and 2 are integers, I'm getting a float as an answer, that is 1.5. Any two numbers, whether it be integer or float, if they are divided, you will always get the answer as float. For example, if I'm doing 3.2 divided by 2, if I'm running this particular line of code, then you will be able to get 1.6. Okay, let me just zoom in a bit. You will be able to get 1.6. Even though the numerator is a float, you are getting float as an answer. If I'm doing 3 divided by 2.6, okay, we are again getting a float as an answer. If we are doing, let's say, 3.1 divided by 2.6, then also we will get float as an answer. So any number, any two number when divided by itself gives us a float as an answer. Okay, so that is something that you need to understand. Okay, let's move on with that. So if you want to check the data type of any like object in Python, okay, any object that is present in Python, you want to check the data type. For that, you can use directly the inbuilt function called as type. Okay, so print type A, so that will give you the type of A and it will print it to your screen. Okay, so for example, A is equals to 3, B is equals to 2.5. So when I'm printing it out, you will be able to see that the type of A is integer, whereas the type of B is float. Similarly, if I'm having 3.0, okay, 3.0, although it is like in mathematics, you will consider it as an integer because there is no value after the decimal point. But in Python, 3.0 will be considered as an float. Okay, 3.0 will be considered as a float. So when I'm running this particular line of code, you will be able to see that for both A and B, we are getting float as an answer. Why? Because 3.0 is now a float. So 3 is an integer, but 3.0 is a float. Please remember this, guys. Okay. Okay, so next we can convert, okay, one data type to another as well. Okay, we can convert an integer to a float and vice versa as well. That is a float to an integer. So for example, 3, as you are able to see, 3 is an integer. If I want to convert it into float, I just have to write float. This is called as typecasting. Okay, I just have to write float in front of it, and then in the parenthesis I want to specify the integer I want to convert to float, and that will convert the number to float. Let us see the answer right over here. So 3, which is an integer, when converted to float, just appends a 0.0, that is a decimal point 0 at the end. Similarly, if this is a particular float, okay, 28.9 is a particular floating point value, I want to convert it into integer, so I just have to write int 28.9. Okay, so when I'm running this particular line of code, what it will do is it will just truncate. Okay, it will just remove everything present after the decimal point. Okay, anything present after the decimal point, it will just remove it. Okay, it will just remove the entire thing. So you are able to get 28 as your answer. So it is not rounding off. So for example, 28.9, it is getting 28 as an answer. 28.1, it will still get us 28 as an answer. If we are having 28.0, it will still give us 28 as an answer. So it truncates everything present after the decimal point. Okay. Another very important point that you need to remember while learning Python is this is something that will be asked in interviews as well. This is a particular question. If you are going into a Python interview, there is a high chances of them asking you this particular question. Okay. You need to keep in mind that floats are an approximation to the number that they represent. Okay, so for example, if I'm writing 0.23, that is not exactly equal to 0.23. It's a bit more than equal to 0.23. That is 0.2300000123 or something like that. Now that is just to maintain the precision. Okay, the number of points after the decimal point, it needs to maintain that in the memory. It needs to maintain the precision of the decimal number that you are storing in the memory of your PC. To do that, the numbers in Python that are stored, okay, in decimal format are stored and are a little bit, there are an approximation to the number that they represent. That is 0.23 is not exactly equal to 0.23, it's a little bit more than 0.23. Okay. Okay. um Okay, the video is absolutely fine. I'm able to see from my end. Okay, I've opened up the video in a separate tablet, so I'm able to see the video. There's no problem with that. Please increase the quality of your video. I know that many of you must be using YouTube for the first time. Do not worry about the same. I will guide you through the entire process. In the video itself, there are three dots that you will be able to see. In that, you can select the quality and you can change the quality to higher picture quality, or like you can go into advanced and then change it to 1080p as well. Okay, I'm currently watching in 720p and everything looks absolutely fine. There is no problem from our end. Okay, so please check your internet. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's not deviate from the topic. Let's try to focus upon what we are here for, that is learning Python. Okay, so see this difference. Okay, this difference is extremely small. For example, 0.23 is saved as 0.2300000123. The difference is extremely small. So more number of times Python usually ignores that. Okay, but in some cases you can check, okay, what is happening inside the memory. So for example, right over here I have added, okay, I've added 0.23 30 times. Okay, I've added 0.23 30 times. Now doing that calculation, the answer should have been equal to 6.9. okay, the answer should have been equal to 6.9. But when I'm checking whether the left hand side, that is 0.23 added 30 times, is it equal to 6.9 or not, the answer turns out to be false. Here I've just, so this operator, I've used it just to check if the left hand side is equal to the right hand side or not. If the left hand side and the right hand side are equal, it will return true to me. If the left hand side and the right hand side is not equal, it will return false to me. So when I'm running this particular line of code, you will be able to see that we are getting false as an answer. Why this is happening? So we have already discussed about it. So 0.23 is a little bit more than that. When we are adding 0.23 30 times, the value that was like at the end, that was just superficial, got added 30 times, and now it is prominent. Okay, now it is not something that can be ignored. Okay, now it is prominent. It will be 0.23001. That is something that the Python is able to identify as that I cannot ignore it, and hence it is not getting equal to 6.9. If you are checking whether this is greater than, okay, if the left hand side, is the left hand side greater than 6.9, let us check that. You will get true as your answer. Okay, true as your answer. Now this is a very valid question by Tech Updates. Okay, that then 6.9 must also be greater. Yes, it is greater than exact 6.9, but that greater than is extremely small. Okay, it's negligible, so Python is neglecting that. But when we are adding 2.3 30 times, okay, when we are adding 2.3 30 times, that negligible value gets added to each other 30 times. But wait for a second, this is something where if I'm changing this to 0.23 multiplied by 30, is 0.23 multiplied by 30 equal to 6.9, you will be able to see that the answer is coming as true. Okay, it is able to see that the answer is coming as true. Okay, so why this is happening? Because 0.23 30 times, Python is able to identify. Python is not dumb. It is able to identify that, okay, 0.23, I need to multiply it by 30. Okay, so the value that was negligible, it will not take that into account. It will just do 0.23 into 30 and then save it. So it will be 6.900000123. Okay, because it is able to ignore that. But when we were writing the entire code, but when we were writing adding 0.23 30 times, Python does not know that 0.23 plus 0.23, okay, is these two values the same or not. It considers them as two different values. Python is not being able to identify that, okay, these two values are same, I need to ignore the negligible portion of the decimal. It keeps on adding that, keeps on adding that, keeps on adding that, and hence it becomes greater than 6.9. Okay. Okay, great. So we have completed our first data structure, data type, okay, that is in integer, as well as a second data type, that is floats. Now we are going to go into the Boolean data type. Okay, we have already seen the Boolean data type, that is true and false. Okay, like bool, that is two values, so it is just true and false in the Boolean data type. Okay, we've already seen its application, some of the operators as well, but now we are going to go into this particular topic and try to understand it in a much more easier sense. Okay, so let's get started with the same. So Boolean data types are something that you must have learned when you were in your college or even in your school in physics. Okay, so you had your zeros and ones. That was the binary language that you were learning. You were performing some of the operations like AND, OR, XOR, NOR. All these operations are something that you can use in Boolean algebra. That is called as a Boolean algebra as well. Okay, so let's try to understand. It is the basic concept of all the electronic devices. You must be knowing that. So let's get started. Okay, give me a second. Okay, so Python is awesome is equals to true. So again, a variable on the left hand side and the operator, that is true and false, on the right hand side. Similarly, so this is something that we already know. There's nothing too loud to discuss right over here. You are having comparison operators. Okay, these operators compare the value that is present on the left hand side to the values that are present on the right hand side. We have already seen them. These are some of the other comparison operators that we are going to see right now. So we are having your greater than, we are having less than, we are having greater than equal to, we are having less than equal to, we are having not equal to, we are having equal to. These are all the different comparison operators that compare the value present on the left hand side and the value that is present on the right hand side and returns a Boolean value to you. Okay, it returns the Boolean value to you. Okay, so there are many logical operators as well. Okay, yes, not equal to is also present, Navy. Okay, so we are working with various logical operators as well. Logical operators are something that we have already seen in our physics. Those are AND, OR, NOT, XOR. All these different like operators are called as logical operators. So I don't think so that I need to explain them. For example, the name itself explains what it is actually doing. So you are having rent is equal to 1200. Okay, so is rent greater than 1000? Yes, rent is greater than 1000, so this will be replaced by true. Okay, is rent less than 2000? Rent is 1200, so yes, rent is less than 2000, so we will be replacing this by true as well. So true and true, is the left hand side and the right hand side true? Yes, so this will also be, so this is the logical operator and this will also be replaced by true right over here. So this is how you basically have the entire logical operators that are being used. Okay, so if I'm printing it out, it will be printing true to our screens. Okay, great. So there are other logical operators as well. Right over here I've kept the code the entire same thing, just outside I have put a not. Okay, is affordable not. So whatever value that is being there coming out from inside, that is true. So we already know, we have already computed this in the previous question, so this will be true. So not true, what is not true? False. So this will convert it into false, and that will be the answer. So let us check if that's true or not. Let's check, and the answer is false, like we discussed right now. Okay, great. So we have already discussed about Boolean operators as well. Next we are going to see strings. So strings also is something that we have already covered while we were learning these examples as well. Even the hello world example that we learned, the first thing that we coded on our screen, this is also a string right over here. This hello world is also a string. Okay. The notes is down in the description of the video itself, guys. Please, if anyone is asking these type of repeated questions, try to help them out. Okay, great. So now next we are going to check about strings. Python has another data type in its toolkit called as strings, and they suggest the basically deals with the words and text. So for example, you can declare a particular string by using double quotes as well as single quotes. Both of them will work absolutely fine. Okay, as you are able to see, whenever I'm using double quotes or single quotes, I'm getting ShapeAI being printed on our screen. Secondly, a string can contain small letters, they can contain capital letters, they can contain spaces, they can contain numbers, they can contain special characters. Anything that you want to put inside a particular string, you can do that. Okay, there is no issues with the same. Okay. For example, if I'm having two particular units, for example 67, okay, so this is a string, although it only contains numbers, but as it is put inside a double quotation or even a single quotation mark, it will be treated as a string itself. Please remember that. Okay, so you can directly put it inside a particular variable and you can use it later on. So that is something that is extremely common. You guys will be able to understand that. Okay, then one of the main problems while using string that people are not able to deal with is using quotation marks inside of the string itself. So for example, if I'm having a string, Shiva says you learn as you grow. Okay, but as I have put it inside in double quotation marks, and I'm having another quotation set of quotation marks inside the string as well, there's some error that will be thrown to me. As you are able to see, we are getting some invalid syntax. Okay, so what is syntax? Just like in English, whenever you are speaking in English, whenever you are writing in English, there's the grammatical errors that you're making at any point of time. Similarly, the grammar inside of the entire code, okay, inside of coding languages or programming languages is called as syntax. So this is not a syntactically correct line that you have written. So that is what our Python is telling us as of this particular moment. So let's try to understand why this is happening. So dialog, that is our variable name, is equals to, it starts with a double quotation mark. Okay, so we'll move forward. So Python will be looking forward for another double quotation mark to end the entire string. So as we are able to move forward, we are able to see that, okay, it's like it's text, and then it finds the last second string. Okay, it's the second quotation mark, and it will end the string right over here. So according to Python, only this part is the string. Okay, this part is the string. Okay, next, when you're moving forward, Python is not able to understand what this is. You learn as you grow. Python is not able to understand what this is. It is not able to figure it out. Next, it is again finding a double quotation mark. It starts a string and then it ends the string right over here. So that is an empty string. So that is the error that we are getting. So there are two ways in which we can deal with this scenario. One thing you can do is, if you want to use a double quotation mark inside the string, you can start off with a single inverted comma, single quotation mark itself. What is happening right over here is Python will be finding a second single quotation mark to end the string. Python will be finding, so it finds a double quotation mark. That is not something that Python is interested in. It wants a single quotation mark to end the string. So it will continue searching again and again and again until it finds the second single quotation mark, and that is where it will be ending its search. So according to Python, this is the entire string as well. But there will be many cases in which you may want to use a single quotation mark inside the string once again. So this is something that will again lead you to the same path, and we don't want that. So Python provides another method in which we can overcome that at any point of time. Okay, so that is where you use the backslash. Okay, that is used to skip, okay, the next character. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Whenever you are using a backlash in the entire string, whenever you are using backslash inside a string, you are actually telling Python to ignore the next character. You are telling Python that the next character that is present just after this backslash has no importance. Okay, it has no importance. It is something that you can ignore, you can move on. It has no special meaning behind it. For example, when I'm writing this particular code, I started off with a single quotation mark. So Python is looking forward for a second single quotation mark to end this end the entire thing. Okay, that is what we are going to do. So okay, okay, so I understand that most of you know Python. Okay, so that's great. I'm extremely proud of you. I also know Python. I've been working on machine learning for the previous 4 years. So I don't even want to do machine learning. I can directly go on to like recurrent learning or something like that, that nobody will be able to get their mindset to. I'm also a researcher. I can go into my research papers as well, but I take up students from the extreme basics. I teach them according to that. I do not consider any of the students coming to these boot camps to know anything from the start. Okay, so for me, boot camps are something that anyone from any knowledge, even if he's a first standard student, should be able to attend and be able to understand the stuff that I'm teaching. Okay, so this is both Python as well as machine learning. Okay, it's not just Python, it's not just machine learning. I have to cover everything from the ground basics. There are no prerequisites for the same. Neil, it's absolutely clever that you know stuff. That's great, but I have to take everyone up with me. Okay, so let's move on with the entire thing. So Python will want to search for a second single quotation mark to end. Okay, to end the entire string, to search that, okay, this is the string that I'm looking forward to. So it starts scanning the entire thing, and it reaches right over here. It looks on for a backlash. Okay, it finds a backlash right over here. So now Python will ignore the next character. Python will ignore the next character. It will not think of the next character as something that is of an extreme importance. There's no special meaning to that particular character. It does not know what that character is. So it just ignores the next characters and moves on to the next part. Okay, and it then finds the second single quotation mark, and then it ends right over there. So that is how you can skip some characters in Python. Although skipping character does not mean that Python will not print it. Okay, skipping characters does not mean that Python will not print it. Okay, you need to understand that skipping character means that it does not has any special value. It does not has any special hidden message behind it. That's the main ideology. So when you are printing this out, you will be able to see that the single inverted comma present inside the entire string is also being printed on your screen. Okay, let's move on to the next part. So I think someone had asked me about concatenating two strings or something like that. Please be very patient. I try to take everything one by one. Okay, do not worry about the same. Whatever is important for the project purpose, I have covered everything right over here, so that once you are leaving the bootcamp, you have some project to showcase or even put on your resume that okay, I have done something. So I try to take up everything related to the project, so that if anyone is asking you any question on the project, you are able to answer them properly on that, because you know that thing that you have written in the project itself. Okay, so here we are concatenating. So what is concatenation? Concatenation is you are having two different things and you want to put them together. Okay, you are having two you want to, like for example, let's take up the example of a train. Okay, you are having one bogie of a train, okay, one box of a train, and the second box of the train, you can call them coaches as well. So coach A and coach B, you want to link them together so that it looks as if it's the same coach itself. So that is called as concatenation. Okay, so here as well, what we are going to do is we are having two strings, hello and world. What we are going to do is we are going to concatenate them. To concatenate them, it's extremely simple. You have to write hello and then you want to write a plus that identifies that okay, you want to concatenate it with the next string. Okay, so similarly, hello, where I want to concatenate a space after hello, so I'm having another string that just has a space inside of it, and then I want to concatenate world at the end of it. So here you will be able to see that there are two different things that are coming on our screen. Now try to understand this, that yes, we use the plus sign to add numbers as well, but depending upon the different data types, different operators have different meaning. So for example, if I'm performing this on a string, okay, so we are getting a result of concatenation. When we are performing this on integers or floats, we are getting the addition operation that is being performed right over there. Now this is called as operator overloading. Okay, this is called the technical stuff, the technical term for this in OOPS, that is object oriented programming. Of course, Python is an object oriented programming language, so this is called as operator overloading. Okay, this is extremely important, guys. Please try to remember this, operator overloading. Okay, so are you guys able to understand up till this point of time? Please let me know, guys. Guys, are you able to understand this? Please let me know. I'm just removing Neil from the live chat. I don't want people like this on my channel itself. Okay, I just removed. Okay, so Naman has written dialogue. Shiva, your bag is red. Print dialogue. Dialogue is equals to this. Print dialogue. Okay, so why he has written it three different times? I'm not able to understand, Naman, what you are writing. Please write it properly. Okay. So operator overloading is nothing, guys. It's just that depending upon the different operands, okay, whether it is an integer or a float or a string, the operator will perform different functions based on that. That is the basic concept of operator overloading. It is an extremely important concept in OOPS. Various like questions will be asked to you in your interviews as well related to that. Okay. Okay. I hope that I'm okay. So I'm on time itself. Okay. So right over here, for example, in mathematics as well. Okay. Okay. So show your bag is red. Okay. Okay, so let's move on to the next line of code. Okay, word is equals to hello. Okay, so someone is asking why Python is called as oops. Okay, oops is object oriented programming languages. Okay, there are two types of programming languages that you will be dealing with. There are many others, but the most two important are the procedural programming language. Okay, that is PPS, and the oops, object oriented programming language. Okay, so these are the two different programming languages that you will be dealing with at any point of time. So for in the example of object oriented programming language, you are having C++, you are having C#, you are having your Java, you are having your Python. These all are basically concerned with objects, okay, in which they consider entities as objects itself, and hence they are called as object oriented programming language. Whereas in procedural programming language, there is a process and functions are there more. They are not focused on objects itself, and these type of programming language are traditional programming language. Most of the latest programming language will be in oops itself. Okay, that's not the part of this particular bootcamp. I've just told you just so that you guys have some understanding on the same. Okay, so let's move on to the next part. I don't want to confuse you with all those stuff. Okay, so let's get on with it. Word is equals to hello, print word into 5. Okay, can you guys like understand what is happening right over here? If I'm doing word is equals to hello, I'm writing word into 5, what will happen? Okay, can someone let me know in the live chat, what do you think will happen when I'm running this particular line of code? Can someone let me know what will happen when I'm printing this line of code, guys? Exactly. Hello will be printed 5 times. What is multiplication? It is addition that many number of times. Okay, that is the basic concept of multiplication. So what we are doing is word plus word plus word plus word. Okay, so it will just concatenate hello 5 times and it will print that out. As you're able to see, 5 times hello has been concatenated and we are getting it out on our screen. So it is as simple as that. Okay, great. So again, now multiplication and addition is something that we have already seen, but we cannot perform division on strings, okay, or subtraction as well. You cannot perform division or subtraction on a string. As you are able to see, if I'm trying to run this particular line of code, you will be able to see that we are getting unsupported operand types for division, string. Okay, similarly, if we are doing str word 1 minus word 2, will again get an error, as you are able to see on your screen. Unsupported operand types str. Okay, great. So let's move on to the next part. There is another useful function for strings, that is the len function, that is used to take out the length of the string itself, that is the number of characters present in a particular string. So for example, we are having ShapeAI, so ShapeAI, okay, that is 7. Okay, that is 7 characters. So if you are having 7 characters, len function will print 7 characters on our screen. Okay, if you are having a space inside ShapeAI, so it is shape space AI, so the number of characters will be 8, as space is also counted as a character itself. So when we are running this, we will be able to get 8 as an answer. Okay, so that is as simple as that. Okay, let's move on to the next part, guys. So type and type conversions, we have already dealt with it, so we will not be going into the depth of the topic itself. But as you are able to see, 75 can be represented in various different data types as well. So we can represent it as an integer by writing 75. We can represent it as a 7.5, that is float, 7.5.0, okay, 75.0, that is a float. We can represent it inside a particular string as well. So that is string 75. So that is now a string. And then you are having type true, so that is Boolean. So when I'm running this particular line of code, you will be able to see that we are getting the different data types, that is int, float, str, bool. Okay, int, float, str, bool. One more thing, guys, see, I do not have enough time to answer each and every question, and then we'll not be able to complete the entire program. But one of the best thing with programming in general, especially what we are doing right over here, I'm doing it on the browser itself. And this is available, guys, this is available on the browser. You can open up along with the session itself, and any doubts that you are having, that you are thinking that, hey, what will happen if this happens, or what will happen if this happens, there's millions of different possibilities, permutation and combinations that are there. Of course, I will not be able to answer all those combinations, but you can try them out, you can try them, you can see what happens right over there. It's a programming language, you can do a little bit of change in the code and see what happens, try to understand why that happens. That is how you learn a programming language itself. Okay, try that, you will be able to do the same. Okay, so let's move on. So we have already seen type conversion as well. So we are having a particular integer. We want to convert it into float. So we just have to write float in front of it. It will get converted. So that's also something that we have already seen. So there's nothing new in that. So right over here, okay, we are having string and integer. What we want to do is, I want to print out a particular result. I scored this much marks and this much subject in my this semester. Okay, that is what we want to do. I want to print this out. So for doing that, I have my marks in integers, I'm having my subject in string, I'm having my semester in string as well. So I scored, and then we are having a marks. So if I'm directly writing marks right over here, okay, if I want to concatenate a string with a integer, I cannot concatenate a string with an integer, it will never happen. So to concatenate, I can only concatenate a string with a string. So what I will do is, I will convert the integer, I will typecast the integer to a string so that it is usable. So I will, if I'm running this little line of code, you will be able to see that we are getting an error. That is, you cannot concatenate a string with an integer. You can only concatenate a string with a string itself. So to do that, what you want to do is, you want to typecast. Okay, you want to typecast this marks, okay, that is the integer, into string. So that for doing that, you just have to write str marks, and when we are running that right over here, you will be able to see that I scored 15 in coding during my first semester. So please remember this, guys. Similarly, you can even convert a string into an integer or a string into a float as well. Okay, so do not worry about the same. Right over here, as you are able to see, marks is equals to 15. You can convert it. Okay, you can first of all check the type and then convert it into float by writing float marks. Okay, so you are able to see from right over here, we are getting class str for marks, and then we have converted into float. So you are getting class float right over here. Okay, are you guys able to understand up till this particular point of time? Please do let me know, guys. Are you able to understand up till this particular point of time, guys? Please do let me know. Okay, great. So one more important part that I wanted to finish before finishing strings is the format method in strings. Okay, format method is something that is of extreme importance to us, and hence we need to cover it. We'll not be going into data types right now in data structure in Python right now, because we will be starting off with NumPy and Pandas, so we will not be requiring the knowledge of data structures in Python. Okay, so I think so this would be the last topic for Python, and from tomorrow we are going to start with either NumPy or Pandas. That is of any extreme importance if you want to become a data scientist or a data analyst. In data science, without NumPy and Pandas, you will be lost. Okay, so right over here, format is a particular function, a helper function. You can think of it as that, to print. Okay, it's of extreme importance, and let's see how it works. So for example, if I'm having a particular string, Muhammad has dash balloons. So I can do one thing, I can put up a particular, like Muhammad has plus, that is concatenate, then the number 27, I can convert it into a string, and then plus balloons. Okay, I can do this, I can write this entirely huge line of code. Okay, if I am having various different pieces of information that I want to concatenate inside the string, then I have to write plus again and again and again, and that just makes the entire code messy. a lot many number of times. So most number of times you will be utilizing these format methods. You will be able to see that this has become a very common practice, especially in data science, machine learning and deep learning. While writing code, this is how you usually write the code inside of it. You are having Muhammad has, then you are having a curly brackets, okay, and then balloons, dot format, okay, dot format 27, okay. So the value that is present inside the brackets of format, that will replace, okay, that will replace the curly brackets present inside. So Muhammad has, the curly brackets will be replaced, okay, will be replaced by 27. If I'm running this particular line of code, I do not need to do any kind of, like, I do not need to convert the integer to string or something like that. That is being done by the format method itself. It is being done by format. You do not have to do it, okay. So you're able to see we are getting Muhammad has 27 balloons. I did not need to do like, okay, I need to convert the string to an integer or something like that. That directly replaces the curly brackets in your string, okay. Similarly, if I want to replace multiple like I want to include multiple values right over here, so what we are going to do is, does your then we are having the first curly brackets and then the second curly brackets, dot format animal and action. So what we'll be doing is, we will be replacing, okay, we will be replacing the first curly bracket with the first value and then the second curly bracket with the second value, okay. So the first value is animal, that is dog, so we will be replacing the first curly bracket with a dog, and then the second curly bracket will be replaced by action. The value inside action is bite, so the second curly bracket will be replaced by bite. As you are able to see, we are having, does your dog bite, okay. Similarly, you can, instead of writing the entire string right over here, you can use a particular variable as well. So that basically is a representation to the string, so that will also work. There will be no problem right over here, okay. Okay, great. Okay, so I think so that should be it. Okay, I will not be taking up longer classes so that you guys are able to retain the information as well. Tomorrow we are going to start with NumPy and Pandas. I will explain what NumPy and Pandas are in tomorrow's class itself. We will be starting off with understanding some of the basic fundamentals in both the languages, both the libraries, so that we are able to understand the concepts behind them. And then we'll go into machine learning. The next thing, we'll start off with learning the theory behind machine learning, one algorithm as well, and then we'll look at the practical implementation of the algorithm in a particular project, okay. So do not worry about that. So the link to the Google form is right over here on my screen, as you are able to see. I'm just copying this, copy, and then delete. I'm going to the links just to show you guys that it's actually working. There's no problem with the link. As you're able to see, the link is absolutely working fine. There is no problem with the same. So you can go ahead and fill it up. Okay. Okay. So thank you so much, guys. I hope that you were able to understand everything. Again, just want you guys to remember that there is no cost associated with these bootcamps. The only thing that we want from you guys is your love and your support. That's it. So do participate in future bootcamps. Do be a part of our community. We are going to make some good like AMA sessions with various people from the industry, so that you guys are able to ask them how to get internships, how to get jobs, how to get into Sony or Goldman Sachs or Microsoft or Google or so on and so forth. We have some amazing instructors from almost every single company out there. So we'll see you soon, and thank you so much for being a part of this bootcamp. I really appreciate it. Do give a like to the video. It really helps us a lot. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Thank you.